Number one, um, continue to go crazy studying for your boards, but you'll pass. I always believe that, when you write things down, you create reality. And I wrote it out and I underlined it and I felt it and I believed it and I could feel it. That emotional feeling of I have passed. I passed my board. That feeling that you have when you pass that board, have it now.
Right.
Feel it now.
This is the Study Acupuncture with Me video podcast. All right, so today on Study Acupuncture with Me, we have a very special guest. We have Michelina. Michelina is a board-certified acupuncturist with her master's degree in acupuncture that she received at the Eastern School of Acupuncture and Traditional Medicine in New Jersey. She was the director of acupuncture at the prestigious Ferraro Spine and Rehabilitation Institute. She has treated professional athletes in the world of MMA as well as the world of the NFL. Currently, she has her own private practice called Fountain of Youth Acupuncture, a holistic healing and skincare studio in beautiful South Carolina, where she is the owner and operator. So, Michelina Kraus, pleasure to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. We're excited to have you. So, welcome to the show. And listening around the world are acupuncturists and acupuncture students. So, can we start off by telling everyone something interesting about yourself that no one really knows?
Sure. So kind of like very opposite of, acupuncture, balance, Zen. I actually enjoy going to the shooting range.
No way.
I do, yeah. So
What?
when my husband and I first met, I had told him that I'd never gone shoot. I had shot once, and it was like this giant rifle, super intense, and I wanted to learn, the real deal about handling guns, shooting,
Yes.
target practice, etc. So for one of my birthdays, he brought me to a shooting range, and like that was it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So moving to South Carolina, we actually went and got our concealed weapons carry.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, and I enjoy going to the shooting range.
That is awesome. I need you
Yeah,
to talk to my wife because that was my thing. I'm like, I really want to learn how to respect a gun, how to
exactly.
clean it, how to maintain it, how to appropriately, store it and discharge it if I need to, like
Right,
absolutely need to in
right.
case of a certain situation. But like she just
Yeah.
like, no, it's scary, yada yada.
And it is. Like, let me tell you, when we first went, I was like, oh my god, it's nerve wracking. It's a
Yeah.
powerful thing that you're holding in your hand.
Yeah.
But to like be able to control and harness that power
Right.
is also something that I think is can be very grounding
True.
and a little therapeutic.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's crazy powerful and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
With great
Yeah.
power comes great responsibility.
Exactly, exactly, which is why we wanted to do the concealed weapons carry
Yeah.
because, not that I'm gonna be, like, going around, like, toting a gun,
Yeah.
but, just to have the information and the knowledge, and
Mhm.
it also gave, with the class, it also gave you, like, about the law
Mhm.
and what to do if you are carrying legally,
Mhm.
and you get pulled over or blah, blah, like, all these different scenarios,
Yeah.
just in general. So it gave us a lot of information and knowledge along with owning a gun
Right, right. So in South
legally.
Carolina, right, right. In
Yeah,
South Carolina, you can conceal carry like if you have the
if you
license,
have the permit.
the
Yeah,
permit. Wow.
yeah, yeah, the
Wow.
license. Yeah,
Yeah, scary, scary.
yeah. But it's like I said, the reason why we did it was for the knowledge.
Or 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. The first time that I um fired was in Texas, and that's when I was like, "Oh, okay,
oh,
this is really scary." And I almost
it
like
is.
threw up the first time because it was so scary. But my
I was
wife's cousin,
shaking.
yeah, right? It's scary.
Yeah, yeah,
So my wife's
powerful.
yeah, and like my wife's cousin has that license too to conceal. So
Mhm.
he brings it, but I think he was explaining to me like you can go from oh no, wait, yeah, you can go from your house to your place of business, something like that. There's I guess in Texas.
Right. So your dwelling, essentially, it's the same thing here. So your dwelling is, your castle. Your
Mhm,
dwelling, your castle to protect, and you have that legal right.
mhm.
So wherever you are, essentially, is your dwelling.
Ah,
But when you're on your own property, you have to. You have to be within your property, meaning on your front porch or in your house with someone with the fear of your life to
Hmm.
actually be able to discharge your weapon
Right.
legally.
Right. Right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, you can't like see somebody, stealing your car, go out and like, you know,
Yeah.
get funny with them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. It's very specific where you have to be on your porch or within your home and feel like you have this keeps going on my ear, and feel like you keep having and to feel like you have your life is threatened.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Makes sense. So that is definitely something very interesting about you that no one really
Yeah.
knows.
Nobody, I mean, some people know, but as the general public, no, but now they
Yeah. Yeah.
do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I mentioned all of your accolades in the introduction, but I also
Mhm.
want everyone to hear it from you. So, how did you go from being the director of acupuncture, treating MMA fighters in New Jersey, and then starting from the ground up your own private practice in South Carolina?
So it started out, I pretty much, when I graduated, I had no ambition in the beginning of owning my own practice because let's face it, we're just burnt,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And I wanted to just get out there, get experience, make money while I was doing it, and, kind of move on from there. So I worked for one company for all of a month and realized, that some places are just not the best.
Hmm.
So I left there and kind of like just knowing people in Jersey, I
Hmm.
put out my resume,
Hmm.
and a friend of mine from, like when I was younger reached out. He is the administrator at Ferraro. So he reached out to me,
Oh.
sat with Ferraro, and then, you know, so on from there. I was the second acupuncturist there at the time because there was another acupuncturist there that was only part time, though I think she was. But then she left to start
Hmm.
her own thing, and it kind of just like essentially fell in my lap. Um, but I had to take on the responsibility. It just was like, here you go, handle it.
Yeah.
So I did, and from there I was I got I got really burnt out again because I was working a lot.
Hmm.
I was seeing a good amount of patients, and it's exactly what I wanted because I wanted the experience.
Right.
I wanted, and it was amazing experience. And from there, I went part time at Ferraro, and I started doing house calls.
Mm.
And that was really, can you see me? That was really
Hmm.
a great experience also because I learned truly how to bill and truly about insurance on with my own practice and so on. From there, my husband and I decided to leave New
Yeah.
Jersey, and we moved to South Carolina. So when COVID hit, right, last March, February, um, everybody was, all up in arms. We weren't working. I think I didn't. I was like out of the office for like 3 weeks, something like that, and then slowly we started to integrate everybody back into the office. But we're realizing like this is insane, and we realized the housing market was through the roof. So we put our house up, got more than we were asking, and we were
Wow.
out. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I moved here, um, the plan always was going to be like, you're going to be your own boss. You're going to open up your own practice. We're going to continue what I was essentially part-time doing in Jersey. So I revamped my name from Points to Health Acupuncture to Fountain of Youth because I really wanted to get into the market of cosmetic
Hmm.
acupuncture.
Right.
Um, so we kind of just, my husband being super creative, as we were talking about before, he's an amazing writer. So we were just like throwing around names, and he helped me come up with Fountain of Youth Acupuncture, a holistic healing and skincare studio,
Right.
and we just ran with it. And he's been like my rock through all of this. But yeah, that's like the whole formulation of how it came to be.
Wow. So
Yeah.
how did you even learn how to start your own clinic, or how did you learn to bill in New Jersey? Like,
So I think I was lucky
mhm.
when it comes to learning how to build because I mean they don't really teach us a ton in
Yeah.
school. And I worked with a lot of PTs, and you being a PT, they really didn't even teach them
Hmm.
much. It was all when you work, that's
Yeah.
when you learn.
Right.
But I was lucky enough to have a classmate or a few classmates, one who was a chiropractor, and another one, Amanda, now Acapinti.
Hmm.
I don't, you know
Yeah.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she worked with her dad her whole life
Right.
essentially, and knew everything about billing. So she was like my billing guru. And I was really lucky to have her.
Hmm.
But another thing that I do suggest for students is spend the money, essentially the 10% that billing companies take, and utilize them
Mm.
and get the knowledge. Ask questions, because that is the most legal and best information you're going to get. And
Right.
they're at your beck and call essentially, right?
Right.
So that's, if you don't have someone that you can go to, like I had with Amanda, um, 100% go with a billing company, and not forever, because eventually you want to and learn how to do it yourself, so that you don't have to, give them the 10% or whatever it is that comes off the top,
Right.
and learn that way.
So what I'm hearing is two things for anyone who
Yeah.
wants to start their own practice. Either one, find a mentor, right,
Yes.
to help you through it,
Mentor, classmate, whoever
right,
that really knows what they're doing.
right. And then, or two, outsource to a professional, right? Do you
Billing
recommend
company.
any?
So the only company that I know of is Holistic Billing, and I've heard good things about them. I've reached out to them a few times. They've helped me even not being in contract with them. So just kind of like throwing out information and stuff like that, to people who are interested in utilizing their services. So I
Oh,
think that even just kind of interviewing them, I guess, in a sense,
right.
to see if it is a right fit for you, is also an option. They were fantastic.
That makes
So I
sense.
recommend them. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. So next question is about your name. So name Fountain of Youth Acupuncture. You said before that your husband helped you come up with that name. I even like the catchy description, a holistic healing and skincare studio. So
Yes.
can you tell us about the treatments that you provide there?
Okay. So baseline treatments, acupuncture, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So from there, I don't want to not do like standard, body acupuncture, what we were taught in school. I still incorporate eSIM, which is really a big part of my practice. Like we were talking about Jeremy before. Jeremy was a huge influence when it comes to the way that I treat, with electroacupuncture.
Right.
So I still do electroacupuncture, meridian therapy, that kind of stuff. But I wanted cupping, all of that. But I wanted to diversify, add things in. So I started realizing that even though people are in pain, even though people have major digestive issues, etc., they will pay for their face
Hmm.
before they will pay for their pain. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it is.
Hmm.
So my idea was to kind of pull those people in, whoever they are, and say, listen, there's, cosmetic acupuncture, and I do microneedling, with herbal serums, Chinese herbal serums.
Hmm.
So if they've got like stagnant heat, or if they have like blood deficiency, things like that, I can use certain serums, kidney chi deficiency, underneath the eye, stuff like that. I can use the serums to incorporate into, acupuncture, quote unquote, practice.
What
So
is
with
what
the,
is the microneedling?
I'll explain the microneedling in a second.
Okay.
So with these people who would pay for their face right before they will pay for their pain,
Yeah.
I now have a rapport with them,
Ah.
and I do a little intake, not a full, acupuncture intake, but I do a little intake with them
Hmm.
based on, with what I see what's going on. I listen and I explain to them, you've got XYZ,
Right.
you know, for your face, to look a little bit younger, I can do, cosmetic acupuncture, microneedling, blah, blah, blah. But it comes from inside out. Like
Hmm.
that's how you're going to look your best, is if you're healing yourself from the inside out. So getting that rapport with them and then explaining it to them that way, I have found is a really great way to treat a person and to their whole extent,
Right.
so holistic medicine, right?
Hmm.
So you were asking about microneedling.
Hmm.
So microneedling, so a lot of people know it as like a derma pen. Have you heard of that?
No.
So a derma pen is essentially it's looks like a pen.
Uh-huh.
It's got a battery in it, or sometimes it's plugged in. Whatever. It depends on the machine that you're using.
Okay.
I got my training through AcuMicro.
Okay.
They make their own pen, and essentially it's tiny, tiny, tiny needles that vibrate rapidly. I think our pen is like 1900 RPM, something like that.
Wow.
What it does, it breaks the skin barrier and causing micro trauma. So what does acupuncture do? Causes micro trauma. Cosmetic acupuncture, what does it do? Causes micro trauma. And the healing process brings, collagen is brought to the area during that healing process, histamine, all of that.
Mhm.
So it builds your body's own collagen.
Wow.
So I put serum on. I make my own hyaluronic acid, which is like a gel
Hmm.
essentially. It's a protein that our body creates itself, but I create it in a serum,
Hmm.
and I put it on the face as like that's what glides all over the face to help the pen move smooth,
Oh.
and it creates those that micro trauma, and then over time your body builds its own collagen, then filling in lines, filling in pores, smoothing out skin, helping with acne. Really, really, really great for people who are, cystic acne
Uh-huh.
specifically. Really fantastic for those people who suffer from that because, I mean, cystic acne, it's a whole nother, but that's a lot of internal stuff. So that's when I can utilize that whole idea of holistic healing when it comes to certain conditions that people are coming in with.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So this specialization, right? Do you feel like it brought like more people in, or did it like
So
how did
I've just opened up, right?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, people are reaching out.
Yeah.
People, like I said, they're more concerned about their face than they are about their, gut issues and whatnot. So I've kind of found this little like wrinkle, where,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, right,
Yeah. I love
that
the
I can
pun.
utilize to teach them about, you've got to heal from the inside out to look your best.
Right.
So
Right.
that usually, kind of turns that light bulb on. Oh yeah, that makes sense. When we go into all of that.
Yeah, it definitely connects. Like this,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And for like the acupuncture students out there, who are thinking, man, should I specialize or should I not? Right? Would you say what was your
I mean,
advice to them be?
yeah. So like I said, in the beginning when I
Yeah.
graduated, I was like, oh my God, thank God. I'm done. Like everybody is just shot. And that's why I wanted to not have to actually think, and I
Yeah.
could just practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was my goal. Um, in the beginning was just kind of like get a hold of my energy and ground myself again, get into a routine, and then figure things out. And it took me a while. I mean, I'm going on it'll be 5 years that I graduate, I think August. And it took me a while to kind of like get my bearings and figure out, what I want to do, and how I want to utilize my strengths. And I'm great at treating pain, but pain can be exhausting.
Hmm.
Pain can be exhausting. Chronic um, illness can be exhausting when you're, especially when you're treating high volume.
Right.
So I wanted a balance, and that's what acupuncture is all about, right?
Right.
Balance. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's the Libra in me also that needs that balance. But if I don't have like craziness going on with like chill going on and finding that happy medium, I can't function. So finding that balance was the biggest thing for me. So that's
Right.
one thing that I wish that I knew. But you can't tell the future, right? But I
Yeah.
wish that I knew when I was in school was I will find that balance. It's just going to take time.
Right. It takes time.
It takes time, and you've got to like just be kind to yourself and breathe, which I
Hmm.
never did.
Well, now that you have your own practice and life is going on, when you tend towards more of that like crazy, right, where it's like not in the chill, like how do you find yourself back to chill?
Um, so now I'm in the chill zone. When I was working full time, um, my chill was like my 10 minutes in the morning with like quiet,
Hmm.
or my chill was sitting on the couch with my dog,
Hmm.
just not, no music, no TV, nothing, just literally laying there, like cuddling with him and just relaxing.
Hmm.
You've got to find those. I had to find those like little points during the day, during the week, that spoke with me the most.
Hmm.
And that's what I recommend is
Right.
you've got to put the mind before everything, because if you don't, you're just going to burn out.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Like you have to be present, every once in a while. If you just keep going and going and going and going, and it's like there's no stopping at all, and kind of like you said before, grounding yourself, right? That's like the key thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like, literally grounding yourself, like, take your shoes off and go stand outside. Like,
You
do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You go
Even when
you
you're
ground
in
yourself?
school.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, as much as I can. It's a little bit chillier here now. We're getting
Yeah.
out of the cold at this point. But I try to as much as possible. I do therapy once a week, functional patterns, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's strengthening in
Hmm.
motion
Hmm.
essentially. Um, and when I go meet my trainer, I take my shoes off and I train, in the grass. So
Wow.
yeah, it's necessary, man. It's really necessary.
Yeah, yeah. Very true. Very true.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's get into some nitty-gritty. Let's get
Okay.
into some nitty-gritty just about your practice. I think
Mhm.
some of the listeners really just want to learn, starting out how to start your own practice. So maybe let's start so where is your practice in South Carolina?
So my practice is in Fort Mill, South Carolina, literally right over the border from North Carolina.
Hmm.
I'm 20-ish minutes from uptown Charlotte. Um, so the whole idea about opening my practice in the beginning is I moved to a new town, a
Hmm.
new state, essentially, hours away. I only know my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law and like a little bit of her family that's here. So I literally am starting from the ground up, like you said, lowest rent possible. So being that I'm, in cosmetic realm now, what they have a lot down here is salon suites. So essentially what that is it's a building, and there's rooms within the building for stylists, massage therapists, estheticians, etc.
Wow.
You pay weekly, and that was it's one room. I have a little desk in there. On Instagram, people can see like what my office looks like. Um, the only challenge with it is that when I have patients laying on the table, they want to talk. So that's the one downfall that I have found with a one room practice right now, is that they want to constantly talk, and I have to reiterate to them that this is your time. I'm gonna or I'll step outside or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's great because I'm not going to get burnt out, room to room to room in the
Right.
beginning. I'm not paying crazy rent. I can start a practice based off of just this.
Right.
Again, the whole balance thing. I have my own practice, but I'm not killing myself.
Right.
Goals. Yeah.
Right. That's the goal. You have your own
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
running your own show, you're running your own schedule. Yeah, and then you can work when you want to, and when you don't
Right.
want to work, you can take a mental break.
Right. And the great thing is that I have so many referrals, being at a salon suite, quote unquote, type of place. Um, I have, little competition. And not that it's about competition, but let's face it, that's a thought that has to go through everybody's mind when they're opening up practice. Is there an acupuncturist, 5 doors down from me,
Mhm. Is there?
essentially, right? No, no. There is another acupuncturist who I met. She's so nice, in my town, but she's in like the main area of town, and I'm further out. But there's always patients to go around. But that was one thing. is that
Mhm.
I don't have major competition right next door,
Right.
and I have referrals like right where I am. So I have, people that rent in the salon suite, and then I'm in a strip mall. So there's a gym, there's a jujitsu place. So I have that as well that I can
That's
kind of
perfect.
utilize too. Yeah, yeah. So location, I mean, in Jersey, it's hard. I never even wanted to think about. Sorry guys, but I never wanted to think about opening up my own place like brick and mortar in Jersey, because for me it was just, I thought it would be too much.
Mhm.
So that's why the house calls thing became one of the things that I did. But being here, it's a lot different. Prices are different, so
Mhm.
it gave me a lot more room to decide. This is for sure what I'm going to do.
Right, right. And so when you were doing house calls, like you would do the billing, you would call their insurances and
Mhm,
verify and everything all on your own.
mhm.
And then
Yeah,
now,
it was so much fun talking to insurance companies. Let me tell you.
but you just had to do that in order to learn,
Yeah.
exactly what you needed to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I didn't go through all of that, I wouldn't have the knowledge that I want to take insurance now, or I don't want to take insurance now, or I'm going to only accept this insurance because of, customer service or reimbursement or whatever. Um, it's it's kind of like a necessary evil. I feel like every acupuncturist does need to go through. Again, I'm huge on acquiring knowledge, and if you don't know how to do it, then you could be missing out,
Mhm.
or you could confirm that that's totally not what you want to do.
You just got
So,
to try.
mhm, yeah, unfortunately, it's time consuming
Mhm.
and it's frustrating at times, a lot of
Sure.
times,
Yeah. But that's a
but
big
it's
lesson, right?
very evil. Yeah,
Right. That's a big lesson. That it's
yeah,
frustrating, but you got to do it. Right?
for
And we
sure.
just for everyone out there, we just got to get our hands dirty. We don't know unless we try, unless we actually
Yeah,
get our hands dirty, roll up our sleeves, call
yeah.
the insurance company, or
Mhm,
just try starting your own place and see what happens.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I mean, and like I said, research billing companies, like I said, holistic billing was fantastic, in my opinion. Um, Not even being contracted with them, and they helped out.
Mhm.
So giving me little tidbits of information, insight, this and that. So
Right.
it's a good route to think about.
Right. Right. What would you say was like the scariest part of all of this? Was there,
Messing up on the billing.
messing up on the billing? How?
Yep. Overbilling, underbilling was like the biggest, was like the scariest thing always, because I mean, I feel like in school and when you talk to people, um, and you're learning about it, like
Mhm.
that's what that's what people get in trouble with, is the incorrect billing, whether it's on purpose or not.
Mhm.
It's still on you, right? Because you're the one billing.
Mhm.
We're such a small, portion of the country that bills
Mhm.
to insurance companies. But in my opinion, I always took it as, don't ever think that way because you want to do it the right way.
Right.
Just, I don't want to ever put that on myself like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then, you know, something happens or whatever. I mean, what would really happen? Okay, I get audited, I have to adjust things, I have to pay money back. I'm not doing anything totally illegal.
Right.
That was the thing. Like, you got to know the rules, the limits, and the parameters. And the worst thing, you'll get audited and you'll have to pay money back, usually.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that
Right.
was my biggest fear, for sure. Being frank, being honest,
Yeah.
my biggest fear.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that is a scary thing because there's some people out there, I guess, who overbill. That's what you're saying, right? Like they overbill, they
And
may have
underbill.
and or underbill. Like
Yeah.
underbill meaning like I saw them for an hour, but I'm only billing for 2 units or something like that.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Because they're
okay.
afraid that they'll overbill, or they don't want to be put on like that radar.
Right.
But underbilling is an issue too.
Then you'll get flagged and then audited, and then you have to show all your paperwork.
Right. Right.
Ah, I see. I see. So then finding that fine line basically is just billing for what you did, being clinical. right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So how do you market? Do you have advertisements or
Yeah. So, my husband, owning his own business, um, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but you and I were talking about it.
Mhm.
He's a writer and he has products out there. He independently published, and um, he's got a Shopify uh, shop online
Mhm.
that sells products that correspond with the books. And
Oh.
he taught himself, the advertising marketing type of stuff, specifically with like Facebook
Mhm.
pixel type thing, SEO, search engine optimization,
Optimization.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I am lucky to have him help me advertise. We actually just did a like social media advertisement commercial, what have you. When you scroll through Instagram and you see like all those promotion type
Mhm.
things, and we did one of those for my area in Fort Mill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you're
So
very active on Instagram.
I never was.
Mhm.
So here, so my classmates know this about me. My family knows this about me. But now to like, also put this out there. I had never wanted to be a slave to social media. I was never a social media fan. Um, Now with having a practice and opening up a practice, 4 years ago, I knew that I needed to amp it up,
Right.
right? Being here, not really having any patient base at all, I really needed to amp it up. So I have a friend who I met here. She does graphic design, and she's been helping me a lot with all that stuff. So I'm lucky to have her. Again,
Mhm.
use your resources, find people that can help you. You just got to kind of put yourself out there and ask for help. If
Right.
it's like a money thing, and you're kind of I don't have a lot of money for marketing, which I get. You're starting your own practice. There's not a lot to go around. I get it. Ask around. Ask around. People know people.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, just
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have my husband.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
like if, put yourself out there, ask around if there's any resources who know
And
more.
ask on the acupuncture forums that are
Right.
on Facebook. Ask people. I'm sure, how many people go to acupuncture school and had an entire other career before they started acupuncture school. Realize,
True.
right? So like post on there. Ask out, ask around,
Mhm.
see what people say.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then with your social media, now that you're, more active in it, do you post a certain amount a week or do you post a certain
I
amount a
try to
day?
post. I think I've like kind of like subconsciously tried to set a goal of like at least twice a week.
Mhm.
Um, the problem with me is I'm always like, oh, is this going to be good? Am I going to, am I writing, the best stuff about what this post is supposed to, the topic of the post is, blah, blah, blah. So that's like one of my downfalls is um, I'm always overthinking,
Mhm.
right? I've got to like calm that spleen down a
Yeah.
little bit, nourish it a little bit more. But I yeah, I try to make a goal to twice a week. If I hit more, which I don't think I have, but try to
That's okay.
I try to do twice a week, and content that and again, utilize somebody that you're close with,
Mhm.
that knows, that you've been going through acupuncture school, not side by side with, but somebody in your family, friends. Utilize this person and ask them, like, would you find this relevant? Like, would you find this interesting? Because if you're putting stuff out there, but it's kind of going over people's heads,
Mhm.
you're gonna generate acupuncturists. I'll find your stuff interesting, but like, is the average person gonna find your stuff interesting, or are they gonna be able to relate to it? So that's why, again, I utilize my husband. He's very honest.
Right.
So again, outsourcing, utilizing, the people that you have around you.
Yeah, that's such a good point because there's free resources out there. There are family members that you can kind of like talk to and say, "Hey, does this post seem like you want to click on it and find out more
What we're doing.
information?" Yeah. And then Instagram itself is a free advertisement basically, right? So it's like the more you post on there, it's like mini billboards for yourself. So
Yeah. And
use
like
free things.
hashtags. I mean, hashtags like are the biggest thing.
Hmm.
I've been, using hashtags, like my town, Fort Mill. So hashtag Fort Mill. And then I realized, oh,
Oh,
there's Fort Mill moms. So hashtag Fort Mill moms,
oh,
like
that's so
who's
smart.
not, what mom isn't stressed,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, like those kinds of things that I'm slowly starting to learn and pick up.
That's
Doesn't all come at
smart.
once. Doesn't all come
Oh.
at once. I've been an acupuncturist for like 4.5 years, and it's I'm starting to amp up now, and it's slowly coming on. So for anybody out there who's just like starting out, just give yourself time. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, like I said before, give yourself
I mean, is you've been an acupuncturist for 4.5 years. Have
time.
you had that moment yet where you're like, okay, I got this? Or like, are you still
I
on the
still doubt
road to
myself all the
that?
time.
What's that?
I still doubt myself. I still doubt myself all the time. I know I'm a fantastic acupuncturist. I know I am. My patients tell me, my husband tells me, he's a patient of mine, of course. Like, and he's not, and I know that these people are not just saying it because, oh, like let's make her feel better. No, I
Yeah.
know they're not saying it, but I also feel like that doubt keeps me becoming better in a way, which
Hmm.
isn't maybe the most healthy, but always making sure that I am giving the best for each patient is a big thing. and and yeah, it's just it keeps me going, it keeps my engine going. So I
Yeah.
definitely doubt myself. I mean, if someone in this field, I mean, if someone in this field, any field, doesn't doubt themselves at some point or another, then I mean, great, that's amazing. But I have don't think I've ever yet to meet somebody who doesn't. And I'm
Right.
talking like people that are phenomenal at what they do,
Yeah.
phenomenal at what they do, and they still question things here and there.
100%. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that imposter syndrome sometimes,
Oh
that doubt of like, should I post this up or what am I
yeah.
even doing here? Why am I talking to this person? I don't know. They're smarter than me.
Yeah.
All those things. Very scary. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a
Yes.
struggle we all go through, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's just going through, just pushing through, right? And just having
Yep.
that positive self-talk and like you said, being kind to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being kind is it's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for myself.
Hmm.
It's hard. I mean, I'm lucky I have, created a quote unquote family of people that
Hmm.
I can entrust into, when I'm having those days or
Hmm.
those times to talk to. But yeah, yeah, just create. My biggest thing is creating that, like I said, quote unquote family of people that you can go
Right.
to.
Having a support system when you're
Sure.
feeling like that. 100%. Yeah. And especially in this climate of, you know, mental depression, and we just need to be there for each other and reach out and just talk, right? We're
Hmm.
not alone, right? No one is
Hmm.
alone. There's always someone that we can talk to,
For sure. For
right?
sure.
Yeah. Now, is there something, off of that note, is there something that
Mhm.
you wish that you could have told, school Michelina, in school Michelina, something um,
Oh, really?
with everything you know now? Is there something you wish you could have told yourself back in the day?
Yeah. Number one, um, continue to go crazy studying for your boards, but you'll pass. You'll pass.
Yeah.
And I did not, and I was like the epitome of that person that was like, like
Yeah.
going crazy, like liver, like going through the roof, like panicked all the time. I passed every board on my first time.
Yeah.
Like, you'll pass.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you can take it again.
Not the end of the
You're
world.
you're out. You're out. What's the cost of the board? Do something.
Yeah.
You're out a couple $100.
300.
Yeah. Okay. It's not that cheap. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you will pass.
Right.
Because for me, it was I give myself no other option. Like there is no other option but to pass. So I will pass. I have passed. I passed my exam
Right.
before I even did all of that. Actually, another little like kind of a little piece of advice I can give students is, if you are feeling like that, for me, before I met my husband and all that, I always believe that, when you write things down, it you can, create reality essentially.
Manifest it.
So my husband is also a mindfulness coach now, not when I first met him, but he's now a mindfulness coach. And I actually wrote down that I'm going to pass my boards. I wrote out, I will pass my point location acupuncture board on the first time. I wrote it, on like scrap paper, and then I took it and I put it in a journal, and I
Mhm.
wrote it out and I underlined it and I felt it and I believed it and I could feel it. That emotional feeling of I have passed. I passed my board. That feeling that you have when you pass that board, have it now.
Right.
Feel it now. And I truly, truly, truly believe that was part of, you know, me passing boards and moving forward and whatnot. Because if you look into the whole quantum physics, totally off topic, but if you look into the whole quantum physics
Yeah.
side of things, it's how it works. So writing it down, manifesting,
That's
it's an actual thing.
that's powerful.
It
That's
is. It
powerful.
really, really is.
Yeah. So
So
you
that was
you
one thing that helped, I think.
yeah, 100%. No, I agree. Like writing it down, writing the goal, writing how I am going to, right? And how you
Already
feel.
have.
I already have.
Already have,
Oh,
knowing that it's happened already, because
yeah.
essentially it has, if you're
Right.
talking quantum physics.
Ah.
So
So
I have passed my
changing that I am going to, that's future, meaning it hasn't happened yet, but I have passed my board exam.
exactly.
Wow. Okay. So everybody
Exactly.
write that
Powerful stuff.
down.
Yeah.
Write that down and
Yeah.
that's a mindset change, right? It's like
100% mindset change.
yeah, because people are
100%.
like at the new end of the year, people are like, "Oh, I'm going to lose
You'll
weight.
always be going to
I'm
them.
going," yeah, right? Or versus I lost X amount of pounds. Etc. Wow.
Gained whatever knowledge, or, yeah. I am so grateful that I gained blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So
Okay, thank you.
that's another little like tip
Yeah,
for everybody in school.
that's really powerful. So let's on top of that, let's talk about your husband a little bit then, right? He said
Okay.
he is that okay?
Yeah. I love talking about my husband. He's my best friend. So yeah.
Well, you said he's a published writer. He's a mindset
Yes.
coach,
Yes.
right? So what
The mindfulness coach. Yeah.
mindfulness
Yep.
coach.
Cool.
So what does he write?
So he wrote a children's book about our rescue dog that we adopted 4 years ago. Um, and he was, traveling, up and down the turnpike, the New Jersey Turnpike. Yeah, and just, not picturing his life being that,
Mhm.
traveling up and down the New Jersey Turnpike. So he started writing a book about something that he was so passionate about, which was our rescue dog. And um, he was a pit bull bully breed, and he had the whole cropped ears, scars all over his,
Oh,
face and neck and arms, 100% used in fighting. Um, and he just couldn't understand how this was actually a thing that people do to
wow.
animals, lo and behold, creatures that we essentially created because they're domestic, right? So
Yeah.
us as humans made these animals,
Right.
and we do this to them,
Right.
and they're so the opposite of what these people have made them do,
Mhm.
and turn them into become. So with that passion, he wrote a children's book, and he's very talented with writing, and it rhymes, and it's about teaching children about rescue dogs and animal shelters. And it's cool to be kind,
Mhm.
actually, like it is. you know so he wrote the book. We give 51% of profits to rescues, and then he wrote a second book, a sequel, about, and that's more so about, the book is called Rubbins For Bubbins, and it's about when Bubbins finally gets adopted and how we need to give dogs time to acclimate, but also how strong and resilient these dogs are, and how they face their fears, and how kids can face their fears also.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Wait, can you say the name again?
sure. Rubbins For Bubbins.
Okay. And we'll link everything in the show notes. Where can they find that book?
So it's going up on Amazon Prime very soon. It's on Amazon right now, but it's not on Amazon Prime. We have a gift set going up on Amazon Prime soon. It should be within the next couple weeks, we're hoping.
Hmm.
But he has a online store that you can purchase the book through as well right now.
Hmm.
There's a little plushie, Super Bubbins, which is part of the second book,
Hmm.
Facing His Fears, Super Bubbins. So we have that. We have some T-shirts and some gear. We have a coloring book and crayons.
Wow.
So
And
yeah, we're trying to just instill in these kids at the root. Kids grow up to be adults. Kids grow up to be people who, for lack of a better term, abuse animals, you know?
hmm
And we're trying to, hit it at the source, just like acupuncture, we were saying before,
yeah.
acupuncture, get to the root of the problem. Well, rescue, we need rescues, we need shelters, but let's get to the root of the problem at the same time. And that's hitting kids, and teaching them that, you know, abusing animals is not cool,
Wow. Yeah.
with treating them with respect, just like
Right.
you need to treat everybody else with respect.
Right. Right. That's such a powerful mission, and I love that you guys donate 51%.
Yeah, give more than you get.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. And what's the Shopify called? Is there a name of the shop?
It's bellyrubbins4bubbins.com, and it'll
Okay.
bring you right to the shop
Okay. So we'll link all of that in the show
on
notes
here,
then.
and the book will come right up when you go to the website.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
What's your husband's name?
Jason.
Jason. So Jason Kraus. And
Jason
he's
Kraus.
and he's a mindset coach. Oh, sorry,
Yes,
mindfulness coach. He's a mindfulness
mindfulness
coach.
coach. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we can link his information also.
Sure,
He
sure.
has
Yeah, for sure.
he has a
He
website?
he. Oh my God, does he have? No, it's pretty much just referrals right now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
it's referrals at this point. He's he's gone on a journey um, since he and I have been together, and when he wrote the book, he kind of like the book kind of think I think like meshed this whole idea of like not the cliche I like wording of what's the true meaning of life, but yeah, what is life about?
Mhm.
And he had this little epiphany or big epiphany,
Mhm.
and he started delving into science. And I was saying before, quantum physics,
Mhm.
um, and meditation. And he started realizing that, manifesting and quantum physics and meditation and religion, it's kind of all
Mhm.
combined when you really get into it, and you can change your mindset by, you know, learning how to utilize being present. So
Right.
he's dedicated, aside from writing the book or the books and creating Bubbins, he has dedicated the rest of his time to meditating and being mindful and utilizing what he's learned to help other
To
people.
help other people.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's amazing.
yeah,
So we'll definitely
yeah,
let's link his information in
for
the show
sure.
notes so that people
Yeah,
can find him as
for
well.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that
I
would be
think I want to respect your time. I definitely want to try to get you back on this one, maybe even with your husband or have your husband on the show at some point or something like
my
that.
husband would love to do a podcast if you wanted to one.
That would be
He
amazing.
can
That would
give
be
students, acupuncture students, maybe some good like information, help them out when they're going crazy in school. So
I think that's something people need,
I
it's
do
so
too.
stressful to be in school, right? And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
And a lot of the people that go to acupuncture school, they're working full time also, and they're just like they have kids at home and they have this, they have that, and it's
It
like,
worked.
yeah, right. And then to try and like just do that all on your own without someone to talk to or coach you through,
Hmm.
I think what your
Hmm.
husband doing is really really useful and needed in this society.
Thank you. I do. I mean, I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
I mean, family members that he's helped, you know, clients that he's helped. I mean, it's just
Right.
people really see the benefit in it. But
Right.
it's hard work. It's
Right.
not just like, oh, I'm gonna, listen to this guy and he's gonna help me, no, you've got to put the work in.
True.
You've got to put the work in, and it's hard because you can monitor what you eat, right? It's not always easy, but like it's doable. You can monitor, other things, but monitoring your mind, it's tough.
True.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But when you dedicate and you tell yourself, this is what I know I have to do to get through, and I know it will help me. That's really the only way that I feel like I've that I feel that has gotten me through a lot of things. I've
Right.
just got to
Build
eyes
it in.
forward, move forward.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Michelina. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time on the podcast. This was amazing.
Oh, you're so
I mean,
welcome. I'm so happy to help.
yeah, you shared so much and just really appreciate everything that you're doing. Before we end, can you just please tell everyone where they can find you or just find out more about you and your practice?
Sure. So my website is foyacu.com. My Instagram handle is Foy, F as in Frank, OY, acupuncture. And Facebook, Michelina Kraus, and then you can my business page is Fountain of Youth Acupuncture.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to have you
Thank
back on
you
the.
so much
This is awesome.
for asking me to come on and chatting with you. It was nice seeing you again.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll see you
Yeah.
again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.